My brother asked me when I was going to make another one of these videos, and I wasn't feeling too great. To be honest, I was sort of feeling a little bit of depression and just lowness. But guess what? None of that matters, okay? Feelings aren't facts. And yes, I respect the fact that I feel low. But that really doesn't have anything to do with God. Just because I feel low does not make the world low. It's just kind of a warped perception. And I can't think of a better scripture for not believing how you feel as to be some sort of barometer of how God feels towards me or how anyone else feels towards me, as in Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? There's also other interpretations I was looking through. It's extremely sick. Who can understand it fully and know its secret motives? And I think that's pretty good as well. Secret motives. And denial also struck me in the head. I don't even know that I'm doing it, or I don't even know the reasons I'm doing these things. You know, I think it says it somewhere in the book, you know, if you ask the guy why he had drank again, right? He wouldn't even be able to give you a good explanation because he doesn't even know why he did it. And the ego is always just out there trying to get things done in its own power. Or even worse for me, trying to prove that I'm shameful somehow. Hey, Patrick, you got to do something really... You got to prove how shameful you are today. Act out to some porn, you know? Do something terrible. Just prove how much of a piece of crap you are, because you already feel like a piece of crap. So, we need to make the inside reality an outside reality. Which is a terrible thing to do, you know? I like Zach Williams' song. Zach Ryan might be a guy, who knows? I'll Google it later. It says, fear is a liar. And that's the truth. Look at all of these lies that I believed without a murmur of doubt for so long. Who could know it? I didn't even know it. I know God knew it, though. And if I look up the definition of heart in the Bible, in the Hebrew, the original language, or at least one of them the Bible was written in, it's the feelings, the will, the intellect, the center. And that's just it. You know, how many times, and I think, you know, if you're, you know, when they call it acting out, that means you're not feeling the emotions, you're acting them out. You're not with them, taking actions based on them. Thinking that just because I feel like God's not connected to me, or I need to feel some sort of special thing to know that God's with me, is not true. Really, my feelings are just some sort of sunglasses that I perceive the world through. The same thing with my traumas or shame. I really don't want to believe any of these things as truth, or anything I have to think. Because, as the AA book repeats on and on and on again, this is a disease of the mind. And I think it's really good scripture for addicts, because we are extremely sick. We've got a disease here. You know, it's a disease of the mind. It's a disease of the thinking. I'm always coming up with thoughts, and then I'm always taking actions based on those thoughts. And that's never a good idea for this guy right here. This powerless man who can't hold his phone for 5 minutes in one hand. Okay? I'm extremely sick. But it's good news here. God is not extremely sick. He's actually called the Grand Physician. And I'm grateful that he's always here taking new patients. Call me the freaking receptionist or whatever. But we got a couple of more scriptures on the topic. Isaiah 17:11. Though on the day you were planted, you make them grow, and on that morning you help your seed sprout. Yet the harvest will vanish on the day of disease and incurable pain. I think this one kind of like, whatever seed you are, that's the fruit that you sprout. And God will help us harvest and get good fruit out of this whole... and just doesn't everything disappear on the day? Your harvest will vanish. Well, guess what? When I'm freaking rolling through my life and other people's lives like a freaking tornado, everything vanishes. You know, he builds up a beautiful house. He has a great life. And then he pulls down the house and the structure around himself in a meaningless sense of sprees. There I go. Everything's gone. It's vanished. How'd that happen? I don't even know. I didn't even know I was doing it. I didn't even know I was being set up to do it again. Funny thing about the ego, sets me up to do it, says it's a great idea, beats me up for doing it. Now I can't stop. Mark 7:21 tells me a lot of different... I feel like this is like a lot of the inventory things in fourth step here. For from within the heart of men comes evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, debauchery, envy, slander, arrogance, and foolishness. I feel like I could check off all those in my inventory at night and be like, yep, did that one. Debauchery, sure. Deceit, yeah, lied to myself. Didn't even know I was doing it. Jealous of people having girlfriends. You know, working too much. Cheating people out of things. Thinking I know better than God. Yes, sir. Angry at people. Well, God said that was the beginning of murder. If I'm mad at somebody, I already murdered him. Theft. All this stuff. Sexual immorality. If I'm lusting at everyone in the store. I'm setting myself up for that one too. Adultery. You know. What are they? I've done them so many times. Dishonesty. Selfishness. Self-centeredness. Lust. I already said that one. Arrogance. I almost know them by hand, you know, because I did a freaking inventory twice at this time. Ephesians 4:22. To put off the former way of life, your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires. You know, desires are fine. God has nothing against sex, nothing against pleasure. It's the deceitful desires. It's the lust. It's the needing to take instead of give. To lust and take instead of love to give. It's corrupt. It's wrong. It's deceitful. It's self. It's ego. Old self. Put off the old self. That's what we do in the fourth step. Ego deflation. Then we'll be able to use our will in the proper way for God. Like it said. One more time. I'll switch arms. Maybe I should freaking bring my tripod out here one time. I'll learn one of these days. I'm really hard of learning. You know. It took me damn near 10 years to get a few months together. Jeremiah 4:4. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord. That's what we're doing here. I like that I also read, we're circumcising the hardness of our heart. Our heart has basically become freaking leather. And we're going to take off that leather and the hardness that we maybe needed to have growing up or whatever, to be in the present moment shedding the ideas, the concepts, the beliefs, the prejudice, to have a softness of heart with God and love. And that's all I got for you today, I think. So that's it, fellas. God either is or he isn't. What's my choice to be? Is my choice to be how I'm going to get myself through the day? Or is it going to be how God's going to get me through the day? Am I going to fear myself through the day, see who's going to hurt me, who's going to get me high so I can just not feel these feelings? Am I going to sit with God through them? That's okay. If we all sin, we fall short. Because where sin abounds, grace that much more abounds. Do not let the enemy trick you into thinking you've sinned too much. You have not. You've felt too much. God is never going to leave you nor forsake you. He loves us. His child died on the cross for us. And that was enough. Now I really want to believe it with the Jesus prayer. The only thing I need to do. And if I could really get that in my heart. That's it. I don't need to go to church. I don't need to go to the priest. I don't need to go to confession. I don't need to get a communion. I don't need to get a baptism. I don't need to go to a retreat. I don't need to go to a meeting. I don't need to go to a sponsor. I don't need to call them every day. I don't need to call 3 people a day. I don't need to go to a meeting a week. I need the mercy of God. Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, a sinner. I can do all these other things, but it's really intention of my heart. What is it? You know, just like Roland Hazard said. You know, there's a good one in that story. The famed American businessman, right? He only wished to regain self-control. And if my desire isn't to get to this answer in step 2, I'm headed for a problem. Because the answer is spiritual help. If I'm not in the problem, if I'm not in the solution, I'm headed for a problem. And you know what we do about problems. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great day. Keep that one close to your heart. Feelings are not facts. But they're still feelings. So feel them. But they're clouds. They're passing clouds. Let them pass. Let's try not to take actions based on them. Based on what I think they mean and what I think you mean about them and how I'm going to protect myself based on lies. I'm not taking actions based on lies today. And feelings are lies. I feel them. It's great. But then guess what happens? My mind makes up a freaking story. And then I take action based on the story that's a lie. And then there I go again. Read the story of Jim, right? That's a man taking actions on a story he created in his head. I'm better than this freaking concert. I used to own this place. Now I have to sell cars at it. Humility. You know, if you don't have humility, guess what? You headed to be humbled, my man. All right? And I just had my teeth splayed over the floor too many times to go back there, you know. I just want to stay here with God. And I hope you stay with me. Take it easy, fellas. May God be with you.